Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to be watching Why Doesn't Life Feel the Same Anymore? And I just want to understand her perspective to give my own opinion. So let's check it out.
Why is life not lifing lately? Nothing seems to excite you anymore. You don't really want to go out, but you're also bored at home.
Yeah, everything
And when you
became
do hang out
mind-numbing, to
with
be
your
honest.
friends, it feels awkward and hard to enjoy the moment. When did everything change? This is the adult life
Maybe
I
COVID?
thought I always wanted. My own place, a kitchen that I could cook in without anyone annoying
Her
me,
place looks
nights
pretty
where I
nice
could
though.
finally be alone, just Netflix, dinner, and me.
Oh,
And
hell
now that I'm
no.
finally
That's the first problem. Netflix, dinner, and me. First of all, get off of Netflix.
living this dream, I'm wondering, is this it? Is this really all there is? 3 months ago, I moved to downtown Chicago after spending 3 years
Downtown
living at home with my
Chicago?
parents, working, saving, grinding, just so I could afford to live on my own, to be in the city I grew up next to but never really got to be a part of. And I did it. But a few months later, after all the excitement and novelty has worn off, I'm sitting at my desk on a Wednesday morning watching people on their way to work thinking, what now? Is life just about waking up, brushing our teeth, going to work, making dinner, doom scrolling, and repeating? If I were to describe this feeling, it's kind of like a hamster wheel that you can't get off of. Always chasing after the next goal, the next milestone. Once you've done this, now
Yeah,
you
that
gotta
sounds
do
very
this.
boring.
Remember to file your taxes, schedule your dentist appointment, follow up with your supervisor, call your mom and wish her happy birthday, renew your passport. Oh, and you also have no food in your house, so add groceries to the list. Every finish line just becomes the new starting line. And suddenly, we're all trying to rack up as many points as possible to win. Social media has become this giant game of flexing on each other, seeing who's the most successful and further along than everyone else. It feels like everyone's achieving bigger and better goals and gaining more points while you're not even on the leaderboard. But we were never
Who
supposed
even
to see
cares if
this
you're on the
much of
leaderboard
other
though?
people's lives. Humans lived for hundreds of thousands of years, constantly watching their highlight reels, their relationships, their bodies, and everything is seemingly perfect. We were never built for this. Our brains were not designed to process that volume of comparison.
Yes, because we're humans, and if you haven't realized, we are also mammals or animals. So there is a limitation to how much information that we can absorb. And even though we can communicate well and we've advanced so far as a society, this is something that's been going untouched for like years. And it's just honestly, the backlash is hitting us now. Because I remember before, like when the internet was first forming, like they were actually tracking down cyberbullying and like what people are actually saying on the internet. But nowadays, it's like anyone can say anything. Everyone is hating on everyone for attention. It's becoming this, like she was saying, it's becoming this hamster wheel. Like anyone can say anything they want, but they truly do not know what they want for themselves in their own life because everyone is too busy judging others.
Yet here we are, doing it before we've even gotten out of bed. But we're also the ones to blame. We were never supposed to have our own lives projected back at us either. Every meal documented on an Instagram story, every Snapchat memory reminding us of what happened on this day 5 years ago, every milestone announced on LinkedIn, every experience.
That might be the biggest disrespect moment where it's like you are doom scrolling and then they show up some feed from years ago where it's like life looked so much better back then. Oh, you don't really have many highlights now.
Is slightly removed from reality, and everything we're seeing is through glass. No wonder nothing feels the same. I was thinking really hard about the
And
last
break the
time I
glass.
truly felt carefree, and honestly, it was before the pandemic. When I look at photos before 2020, they look really different to me. Like everything was saturated with hope
You just wore makeup? Is that the difference?
and possibility, and I wasn't tired
Yes, that's what you call responsibility.
all the time. Obviously, I was younger and more naive. I hadn't experienced a lot of what life had to offer yet. But it wasn't just me. I think the world looked and felt a lot brighter and lighter. When COVID first hit, I was a freshman in college in LA. And overnight, I
Mm-hmm.
basically had to leave everything behind and move back into my childhood home in the
All
Midwest.
these
I missed
squishy
an
mellows.
entire year of my college experience. And when I came back as a junior, everything had changed. There was social distancing. People were more on edge and paranoid of physical contact. Everyone was on their phones thanks to TikTok
Oh my goodness, when someone would be coughing, like everyone stares at them.
and in-person events were replaced by Zoom parties. Human interaction
I
became
hate Zoom.
optional, then slowly it became the exception. It's been 6 years, and while some things on the surface have returned to normal, underneath, I think all of us
You know what's funny is with the rise of AI and like being able to understand a lot of infrastructures nowadays, like you have to think like an AI, like think in terms of systems and infrastructures, and you start realizing it's been broken for many, many years. It hasn't even, it's just COVID makes us feel like it's very detached ever since we had the quarantine and everyone had to reflect on themselves or practice social distancing and avoid society in a way. And so it made us more reflective and understanding and more self aware, which is why we're even thinking like this. But it's been happening for decades. Like these broken systems that are in place right now, unless someone makes a change, nothing's going to happen.
Who were young when that happened learned something we couldn't unlearn: mortality. That things can just end at any time. The world can change overnight. Nothing is guaranteed the way we thought it was. And knowing stuff does something to you. That's why I think our generation tends to poke fun at serious things. We turn tragedies into memes, hardships into parodies, because laughing at stuff is a lot easier than dealing with it. But deep down, we've become more cynical, a little more guarded, and less
Very
willing to
numb,
let
very
ourselves
numb.
want things too much. And in turn, this makes life feel more stale. And this is probably why I think about
You know why? It's because you're not leveraging the bad moments of your life because everyone will always have bad moments. Like social media is only capturing the good moments in people's lives, and in comparison is the thief of joy. And so everyone is constantly jealous of every other person that has more than them. And so if you're leveraging the bad moments of your life to make sure your good moments feel even greater, then it actually is a good tool because everyone will have bad moments in their life. But if you just use your bad moments to doom scroll and make even more bad moments, you're doing yourself a disservice, to be honest, guys.
lasts a lot. The last time I played on a playground, the last time I ran a mile in gym class, the last college party I went to. You never know when something is the last time.
Nah, when you look back at a college or high school, like I when I heard one of these regret videos of like every age group, I was like, why do these people regret things they said in middle school or high school? Like,
Until you're standing on the other side of it looking back. I think the answer to the question, why doesn't life feel the same anymore, is pretty simple. Because you don't allow it to. We're all living this double life online and in reality. Nothing
I think the simple answer to life does not feel the same anymore is because we're constantly changing as people and adapting is part of what we do, like survival of the fittest. Like we need to survive, obviously. We're in this society where social media is so popularized and taking our attention span away, and we always have to be fearing missing out on the next big thing that's going to be on social media or the news, that we're not a part of something bigger. Like that's when it starts being about more of the group, and that's when the focus is more on the group rather than the individual person, which is why we live in this sort of society where everyone's just a people pleaser looking for attention, validation, dopamine rushes.
feels real. Is this picture AI? Is this web
The funny thing is if everything feels fake, then how do we know when something real shows up?
like gonna scam me? Why is this person sending me a friend request when I don't even know them? Everything's expensive. We all have some form of anxiety. Everyone's addicted to their phone. All the food in the store is bad for us, and the news is constantly reminding us of every single crime that's happening in the world. Of course, it's easy to pity ourselves and accept that life
Yes, so instead of dwelling in all the problems and panicking over everything, the world is going to end and my life is miserable, we should try to leverage that. And it's all mindset. Like even Marcus Aurelius and Stoicism itself goes over this. It's all based on your mindset. The philosophy is really based on mindset.
will just never be the same. But when I think about it, was it always so great, or were we just ignorant? Was life actually better before, or have we just changed?
I actually have an answer for you. We have changed and we were ignorant. Yes, because what you just said, when you were younger, you weren't experiencing certain things in life. And yes, if you had less responsibilities or no responsibilities with when your parents are taking care of you and all you had to do was go party, hang out with your friends, spend time, enjoy hobbies, it's a lot easier to live life like that and everything feels lighter because the weight of the world isn't on your shoulders. But now that everyone, like she was saying, now that everyone sees the news, everyone's looped in on literally everything in the world. And so when you're looped into everything, it's about how you filter that information now instead of overreacting to literally every single thing that's going on in the world. And like especially when it comes to crime, like if you were to get upset at crime in your local area and like finding somebody that's doing something wrong, that's perfectly fine. But when it starts scoping out to like different countries somewhere thousands of miles away from you, like how does that actually individually impact you unless they're like a certain race or like a country that you move from? Like I understand that, but I just don't understand. This is something that we as a society should be fixing, like actually fixing it or finding finding a solution to, because maybe there's some good in awareness, obviously, and knowing things about the world. But at some certain point, we need to be able to filter that information so we can still do things productively and also take care of our mental health.
Coming back to my dinner, me alone watching Netflix thinking, I
Yeah,
wanted
stop watching
this. And I
Netflix.
wonder if the problem isn't the dinner itself. I wonder if the problem is that I was barely there for it. I was watching something I wasn't really watching, eating food I didn't really
Is that
taste,
Chase
spending an
Crawford?
evening that I'll never remember because I was only half present for it. And yeah, eating dinner on a Monday night isn't something to brag about, but these micro experiences are the things that make up life. And without them, you wonder why you feel so empty. And I think that's what's actually different. Not life itself, but how present I am in it. I think we can all agree that life felt a lot brighter before we had a phone in our hand all the time, before we had a
You know what's funny is I actually tie emptiness to control, because life feels empty because you're not in control of it. Like, you don't have agency over your life. And that's the focal point of it all, because doom scrolling, the society, like everyone thinking a certain way, that's all environmental oriented. They're external factors that affect you. And so think of things out of your control. It's like stoicism. If you keep constantly think of things out of your control, then what do you have control of? If you have control of nothing, then how can you start gaining control of things in your life and eventually your own life?
platform to constantly show up on. There's something that happens when you start living your life for other people, whether that's for your followers, your boss, your spouse, or your parents. Life becomes more miserable when we start living it outside of ourselves.
I'm gonna be real, guys. This has nothing to do with the video, but like, how has she looked completely different in literally every clip?
You're at a nice dinner, but you're also thinking about work tomorrow. You're at the concert, but you're too focused on recording it. You're on
Is
a
that
walk,
Sykkuno?
but you're
What the
scrolling instead of enjoying nature. And in that gap between the experience and the documentation of it, the actual living goes away. And ironically, despite being so removed from actually being present, we've also never been more obsessed with pursuit. We're so adamant on everyone having a purpose, a mission, a reason to get out of bed that sounds impressive to other people.
You know, the purpose, mission, reason to get out of bed, that actually is valid. But it's just that if we're trying to just do it to show it to others, that's when it's not more about like being good at something or your craft. It's more about validation.
And I've worked so hard to build mine, my career, my apartment, my social circle, and I got them. But now I feel uncomfortable because I don't know the next mountain to climb. Like, who am I when I'm not chasing something? Where is my hamster wheel? But I don't think the answer is to create.
So she's facing complacency or not understanding the next step, which is lack of direction. A life like that, I think the only solution is being accepting of yourself, but it is pretty hard to do that, I guess, in today's society.
Create more drama in my life. I don't need problems just to have something to solve. I don't need to keep chasing an arbitrary goal just to feel busy. I think the answer is to actually show up for the life I'm already living, to eat the
You know what's sad about all this? I genuinely think that a lot of people are going to feel this way either now, they already do, or in the years to come.
pasta and
This
actually
problem is
taste
not
all
going
the
to go away, which
flavors,
is why
to
we need to
look out
find a
my
solution to
window
it.
at the city and feel proud of myself. 21-year-old me sitting in her childhood bedroom would have given anything to be exactly where I am right now. It's the little things that make up life: the music, the food, the adventures, the relationships, the trauma, and the joy. If you're watching this and something resonated with you, I want you to think about one thing that makes you remember who you are: a person, an activity, a place that reminds you of what makes you happy and doesn't make you feel like you have to perform or optimize anything. And I want you to do this thing just for you, not for content, not because it looks good to other people, just because you want to. And it's your life. Because when you think about it, life is actually pretty short, and you deserve to be present for all of it.
That's a good TED Talk ending right there. I think this existential issue is just hitting all of us that are 20 to 30 years old, to be honest, even younger, actually. Now the question becomes, how do we combat this? Like, we all have this similar problem. Like, life is just going to be miserable until we do something about it. And it really does start with the growth mindset and understanding, like, how our brain actually functions. I truly believe that as long as, like, I build the foundation with this channel and, like, we can all form a general consensus, like, okay, this makes somewhat sense. Like, if I'm even 80% correct or 70% correct, that's enough for me, because because as long as we get a general foundation of, oh, like our lives are miserable, then how do we understand ourselves first in some way, in some capacity, so that we can move forward and do the things that we love to do in life? Because I'm telling you guys, like, especially everyone that's like 20 years old or still starting their life or graduating college, you have another 60 or 70 years ahead of you. So I just find it crazy where people are already dooming their lives before they even start, and they have so much more life to live. If we don't capitalize on this opportunity now, feel some sort of urgency that things are going to get even worse. The main problem is life is going in the wrong direction right now, and no one actually truly understands what I am talking about, to be honest. I watch all these videos and they're very informative, but there's never practical steps that like people can follow or a community to join, like for overthinkers and people that actually leverage their life and are proactive, because the people that actually put in the work and deserve to be rewarded for it, those are the people that deserve a better life, to be honest with you. I'll be real. And so the lack of effort nowadays for society to appreciate people that just randomly make a lot of money for doing things that aren't as hardworking as the people that put so much time into education, put so much time in trade school or their careers and professions only to get nothing in the end. I just feel like we need to create a society. We need to create a community for that. And hopefully my Discord server becomes the one to start it off. Overall, I enjoyed this video. If you guys want to watch the original video, the link is in the description below. I will see you all in the next one. Peace. If you want a place to reflect, ask questions, share ideas, or talk with people who are trying to live their life intentionally, you can join my Discord server in the description below.